We are live, finally. Welcome back to this show.
It just takes so long.
It does. It does. The Author's Dilemma, where we are live every Thursday night at 6:30 Central, and we try to be entertaining and answer questions, and we talk about things, mostly ourselves, and we enjoy it.
We're good at it.
Yeah.
We know how entertaining we are, so we talk about ourselves.
No, but so my name is J.E. Jack. I write paranormal thrillers, and now I am writing urban fantasies.
I'm Hyrum Hawks, and I write hard sci-fi and sci-fantasy.
I'm Jennifer Carr. I write Christian... let's see. What do I write? Christian romantic suspense and clean contemporary romance. That was a lot of words that I stumbled over just now.
Every single time. This is our I think this is our 39th or 40th episode, and every single time it's like, what do I write? Jeez. Even though I know what I write.
Well, do you know what changed, though, is that I've kind of moved to, I'm working on another series, a Christian fiction that's not romance. And so I'm like, do I say that I only write Christian romance, or do I just write Christian fiction? I don't know. So anyway, it's confusing.
Meanwhile, I'm having an existential crisis because I want to make money doing this, and I do have a romance series idea that is a romantic sci-fi.
I mean,
and so,
what do I write?
Are you writing a series, Hyrum?
I have a series concept. See, I wrote 80,000 words of a alt history Regency sci-fi romance, and it was terrible. Okay. It was one of my early stuff. It was. We're talking. I realized that I finished it back in early 2023. I'd been writing for less than 9 months, and so it was. I wrote it. It was probably 2 books before I wrote The Persian Asteroid, my first book, that I actually am proud of. I mean, I want to fix things in it, but I am proud of that one. I am not proud of this older book. They're only things I'm truly proud of are published. Yes. But with 80,000 words, I don't want to just have it die. Right. Now, part of the reason is I am fascinated by romance, probably the same way like an outsider romantic literature. I am a romantic. I think a lot of men are, but I am not. I do not comprehend what makes a romance novel fully. I mean, as recently as 2 weeks ago, I texted Jen all excited, I just figured out what makes for a love triangle, and I explained it from a total engineer standpoint. And Jen, correct me if I'm wrong, but the nerdiest thing you may have ever heard.
It was pretty rad. Yeah. It's pretty bad.
But it was right. And so I'm... Yeah. So I'm loving figuring this stuff out, and I want to write a romance, but at the same time, I have to write sci-fi. If it's not science fiction or science fantasy, then it's not going to get written. That's how my brain thinks. And so I've got this
I think
concept.
I think it's one of those things where, if you're writing a series, I think you do a better. I think you do better when you write series. But
oh, for sure. Oh, I am now stuck on.
But before we get into all this,
yes.
First off, anybody that's watching this night, if you want to say hello and tell us where you're watching from, be sure to do so in the comments. We'd love to welcome you to the show again. Do we have any newsworthy items this week?
Okay. Yes. There is a huge, and I know this has happened, this happens all the time, but it's become common knowledge now that people are returning their Audible books because they didn't like them. And do you know what the problem with returning audiobooks is that the author has to pay for that return. That's a problem.
Yep. Justin says,
"Oh,
missed you last week, Hyrum." And you know what? We did.
We did.
Well, thank you. I missed y'all too.
Wow.
I also missed sleep last week.
Oh.
So they listen to all of it and then they return it.
Yep.
Wait, with Audible? Because I thought once you reach a certain percentage, Audible doesn't allow returns.
I think there must be some sort of exception because people are returning their audiobooks and people are, they're just now learning that Audible is not a library that you borrow and return from. And, yeah.
Well, I mean, so, if you have an Audible membership,
Yeah.
Even still, because I guess you could return that and get your chip back or your token or whatever it is that they give you.
Yeah.
But, golly, that's kind of cheap.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So,
which kind of leads to the other topic that we discussed this past week that made you so mad.
Which topic was that? What topic
Well,
was that?
glad you asked.
By all means.
Yeah. So, as we know, there's unscrupulous people out there, and the fact that these people like us spend months of blood, sweat, and tears pouring our souls into a book. We put it out into the world because we want to. Obviously, yes, this is fun, but we do want a little bit of recompense. Because,
Money is how we find out that you really liked it.
Yes, well, and we like to eat, and we like to do more of it because books cost money. I mean, yes, you
We
could
got pirates.
yeah. So yes, to put out a book, yes, it could be free. But if you want to put out a good book, you need to hire an editor. You should probably hire a book cover artist, and those people aren't cheap.
Yeah.
So all that to say this, I was notified of a pirating website, which
we will not share it.
that we will not share because you never know. And yeah, so my book was on. Some of our books were on there, and it's upsetting because they do it under the premise that they are accessing the world's knowledge and they're doing it for free for everybody that can't afford it, but yet they're asking for donations.
Yes. Oh man, that hacked me off so badly. And if you check out their Reddit, there was a place where they're like, we're doing this all legally inside of our jurisdiction. And I'm like, where's your jurisdiction? I'd like to burn it to the ground. I was so mad.
Right.
Because I'm thinking, I think my book was on there 5 or 6 times and what it is, it's one website where people have uploaded it to multiple sites, and that's like the hub. So your book is actually on other websites. You need to go check it. And what I have found is that you need to go set Google alerts for your name and your book titles as in different variations. Free ebook, J.E. Jack, ebook download, Hyrum Hawks with your book title, whatever. Like, go set the Google alerts so that you get emails so you know where your book has landed. And that's how I found one of mine, actually. Yeah.
And you tell me how to do that because I'm not.
Yeah. No problem. Yeah, we can do a walkthrough.
But it's unfortunate because these people do these actions, and Amazon has they have an exclusivity clause, and if they find your book that's not supposed to be produced, or your ebook that's not supposed to be available anywhere else, they could cancel your account
without any warning. Without any warning, they'll just.
So then you have to go through the whole why did I get canceled? You lose out on the money that you would have made on that read.
Yep.
Or whatever.
And then they may or may not reinstate your account.
Right. So it's just bad all the way around.
It is. Stop pirating books.
Yeah, I mean, and I just can't stand the moral high ground that they argue from. I'm like.
Yeah.
Listen,
They argue from a moral high ground as they're standing in a pit of mud.
Right. Exactly.
You can tell we're writers.
We don't have any strong opinions whatsoever.
No, not at all. No.
Or graceful ways to express that.
So next book. So what do you the viewers that are watching this now, what do you guys think? What do you think about that?
Yeah, have you ever pirated a book? No,
yeah. Tell us where you're from.
I would guess that most of us did grow up. Like the younger generation probably doesn't remember Livewire, doesn't remember that stuff.
Yes.
When I was in high school, I was presented with all this sudden new stuff. Like, look at all this cool stuff, and no one ever explained to our generation in the '90s, at least.
Yeah.
This is piracy.
Yeah.
And it's like, then one day it was like, it clicked in me. I think I was like 18, 19. I was just like, wait a second. This is stealing.
Yeah.
And it was that day that I was like, okay, we're not doing that anymore. But maybe I've taught my kids, of course, not to. But I think in many ways there are a lot of people growing up they just think that it has to be free.
I had a very surreal conversation with an acquaintance of mine. So yes, I play video games, and yes, there's groups of people that I've played with for several years, and that's how it came to my, hold on, let's get through the comments real quick.
Yeah, go to that comment because I'm like,
one.
First off,
this is a really good
Jimmy
one.
2000 says there are tons of books in the public domain. And then the next comment is, so they don't have any ground to stand on. If you have no money, there are free books that are legitimately free. I can't speak this evening. That person did not write that, but I just said that. So there's no need to pirate. You're absolutely right. There is no need to pirate. I'm a little quiet.
Are you?
Let me see.
Well, eat your microphone
back.
like I am.
That's right. Get real close.
No.
Welcome back, Kenby. We're so glad you're here again.
Yes. Let me what,
I hear you fine, so I don't know. Maybe I don't know what it is.
Well, I mean, think about it. How many people make Pride and Prejudice and other Jane Austen things these days?
Yeah.
Every few years you hear another Jane Austen variation.
Yeah.
Because it is public domain, you can use it, and that just becomes fanfics, which is great because they're pretty cool fanfics. But yeah, there's so much good stuff. Until you've read, now some you'll read and you'll be like, this is so archaic. It's like, well, that's what our ancestors read. If you want to understand the foundations of science fiction, go read Frankenstein. Go read all that fun stuff. And you'll find out Frankenstein's really weird. But Mary Shelley was crazy, and it's great.
But it's so good.
Yeah. All right, so I think I adjust my mic. Hopefully that fixes the things.
Oh, yeah.
So thanks for letting us know. So yeah, no, it was brought to my attention by someone that I kind of knew in passing, and they're like, "Hey, there's this free resource, and it's totally legit." And I'm like, "Okay."
Is it?
And so then I looked at it, and obviously I realized it was a pirate site. And I'm like, "Oh, so you just totally stole from the?" Well, what? No. I wasn't going to buy them anyway. And I'm like, that doesn't strengthen your. I was like, "You idiot!"
It makes it worse.
I know. I mean, like, some of the.
I wasn't going to steal, but I found it lying on the ground.
Yeah, I mean, it fell
Makes
in my
it
lap.
yours.
I mean, I don't know. It was just kind of depressing.
Yeah, for sure. And there's course of action, but it's so time consuming and so frustrating because you have to escalate it because they don't care.
Right, and they ignore it because what are you going to do? Because you can't. There's like no, anytime you go to a website. Oh, thank you so much, Kenby. They say my volume sounds much better. Thank you. They even if you go to a website to download books, and they don't have an address, they don't have a way to contact them, they don't have a way. That's probably pirating. Yeah. Now, free books. You can go to the library.
Yes.
You can go to the library and get free books.
We get.
And they have.
Yeah.
Not much, but it's better than nothing.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
And I'm totally fine with someone getting a book of mine from the library. But yeah, so.
And when you get a library card, you can get them for other libraries that aren't in your town. Mm-hmm. Like I have a Broward County in Florida library card because it's a massive online library. It cost $40 because I don't live there, right? But I have access to this massive library online, and I love it because now I have 3 library cards, 2 in Alabama and now that one in Florida, and I can put them on hold in all the libraries, and I'm not doing anybody any harm. It's what it's there for.
Yeah. Okay, so everyone, we were supposed to have a guest tonight, and unfortunately, it just didn't come together like we expected. So, and that's okay.
Life happens.
Life happens, and it happens.
That's the danger of live performances.
Yes,
that's true.
Yes.
You never know what's going to happen.
Well, that's right. I mean, it's one big box of chocolate.
Yeah, for sure.
So tonight we're kind of doing a open forum, just having a conversation. And honestly, that was the whole point to begin with when we started this show, was to talk about our triumphs, our difficulties, and things that we're learning in the process, and hopefully get questions that we could, hopefully answer, or at least shed some light on. Yeah.
What are we doing?
Yeah, these words. Trust me, this is tea, nothing else I'm drinking. So Hyrum, what's going on in your business?
Well, like I said and alluded to, a bit of an existential crisis. I really would like to make money and go full-time to writing. Mm-hmm. And ideally, it would be writing science fiction and science fantasy in the traditional, like The Martian and Dune kind of sense, but comedic. I don't want to write Dune because that's depressing. And
it's already been written.
That too. I do love romances, and so I've been debating back and forth with Jen and with a couple of other writer friends who are romance authors. could I write a romance? It's specific. Romantasy is a big thing, and so I've been questioning: could I write a romance sci-fi, a sci?
I got a question.
Sci
real
romance,
quick.
whatever.
I got a
Yeah.
question. So before you met Jen, have you ever read
Yes.
a romance?
I had read all the Jane Austen stuff,
But not modern
so-
romance.
not modern. But after about 2 years ago, when I started writing, I did start reading romance, not just Jen's, but also other people's. I've read some stuff that I was like, this is not my thing, and I've read stuff that like, this is fascinating, I love it. Like, oh, I didn't get a chance to tell you yet, Jen. I finished your second book last night,
Oh, hooray.
and it was very good.
Thanks.
I'm not sure who I like more, if I like Christopher Jordan or I like Nash more. They're all awesome. Anyway, book one versus
yeah.
book two. They're both cool. But see, I find it fascinating because I am a hopeless romantic in real life. Like, but I'm very much also an engineer and a man. And so writing romance tends to be for mostly females. That's the majority of the readers. And so if I want to make money, I've got to write a romance that would make the majority of those readers happy, or be satisfied with the minority of male readers who are like, oh, this is novel, a romance that's written by a man. Cool. Either way, it'd still probably make more money than just writing hard sci-fi. That's a very niche market. And this is where it all comes back to marketing. And that's part of what started the existential crisis, is that marketing is stupid.
That's for sure.
It is
But
hard.
I have a concept. It's when I wrote it last year and a half ago, it was this duke and a gentlewoman, and they meet. She becomes his mathematician. And, it's still got a lot of sci-fi. I realized no, it just doesn't work. But the working title for it right now is The Duke and the Martian Priestess, and it's basically you got a duke on Earth, and you've got and in chapter 1 we see him looking at the sky, and there's Mars, the pale blue dot.
Uh-oh.
Because
froze.
the whole premise is 100,000 years. Oh, I froze.
You
Yeah,
did.
no,
You're
you're right
back.
now. You're right. You're right. Yeah.
Ah, that's good. Okay, the basic premise is 100,000 years ago or so, we colonized Mars. But then there was a cut-off, separation, wars, climate catastrophes, and now they find something. The Martian priestess comes back to Earth to try to reconnect to Earth. And so it's a great premise for a romance in my mind, but it's also a great premise for a sci-fi, and so I'm trying to see if I can wed them. And that's really... can I make money at it? I don't know. I've written 5,000 words and sat back and just kind of staring at it.
I want to interject here that you need to go back and write the one about the mathematician, so we can go back and use the title that Josh just accidentally came up with earlier, was Solve for X with the EX, and we're solving for the X. And I'm just like that has been playing in my head since he said it, and I'm like,
That's
now
hilarious.
we need to go
Solve
back and do
for X
Oh my goodness.
equals Y.
that. I mean, I'm just like,
I
solve
know.
for X. Anyway.
Yeah, well, that is a song.
And
in
hopefully
the,
XX or XY.
The Star
yeah.
Trek musical. The Star Trek musical in Strange New Worlds does have a song where he sings about X and Y. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm talking about like the ex-girlfriend or the ex-boyfriend.
I know,
Solve for
I know.
X, like EX.
Yes.
Anyway,
No, that's what it is.
So,
Oops.
We're
We're fighting for it.
So Kiva 2000 says sci-fi romance might target an underserved niche. Hyrum might not be a lot of those, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, that's what I'm debating.
And that's
it
true.
There?
It's one of those things that you would probably have to. And they say it could do well as well, and it's true. I mean, I guess it's one of those things. If you're chasing, and I hate to put it this way, I mean, if you're chasing money, which I know that's not you.
No,
Success.
I am.
Success.
I am, and I'm not. I'm chasing
Right.
the idea of getting out of my day job
Right.
and just writing.
So
And so, yeah, that is mercenary,
So-
but it's
so-
also something I want to do.
right.
That's fair.
But then again, then it'll come down to like actually like doing, studying, figuring out which market you'd have to which I'm sure you're doing. So
Well, and here's the thing: when you start hitting those, underserved niches, or when you're in a very targeted audience, those fans become rabid when they get a hold of something.
I like that.
Right? And so it's a very because they don't have it just coming everywhere. Like contemporary romance, but like it's a dime a dozen, right? Like you have to fight to be seen in that genre. I'm pretty sure that sci-fi romance is going to be one that it'd be pretty easy to be in the top 100 on Amazon.
Oh man, true. You should create a new one. You should create lit RPG sci-fi romance. There you go. There you go.
Choose your own adventure.
Choose your own adventure. Yeah. I think that's copyrighted though. So I don't think you can actually use it.
Choose your own stuff.
Yeah.
The concept could be there.
At this point, I'm gonna study it. I still have my other book that I'm literally 60,000 words into that I don't want to just give up on. Okay. And it's I love that one, but at the same time, I want money from writing.
Yes. That is the
eternal balance.
It is.
Well, I mean, obviously we all want to continue doing this, and it is a labor of love for quite a while until, something takes off. And and I'm always reminded of Brandon Sanderson. Is that his name?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I always want to say like another B name, for some reason. But I just remember one of his lectures. He's like, he wasn't discovered with quotations until book 11.
Yeah.
13. He wrote 13 books, and then book 11 was, I think it was book 11 that got published.
Isn't that interesting?
So it's just one of those things. It's like it's a marathon.
But see, he had the luxury, and I'm saying this a little bit sarcastically. He had the luxury of being a college student working at the graveyard shift of a hotel in Provo, Utah, where nobody showed up during the graveyard shift 95% of the time, and so he could just write the entire night.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He got paid minimum wage to write.
That's awesome.
Yeah. As you make decisions in life, it's I understand time management.
I'm just 20 years too late for that one.
So, Jen, what's going on in your world?
Nothing. No existential. We are struggling. Existential crises this evening. Yeah. It has been a long week. I've been.
What are you drinking?
Mine is just Ningxia and soda water, so it's just antioxidants. So it should be good for the brain, but it's not working. We're still in the first 4 weeks of book launch, and it's been interesting. Like, I'm a little disappointed, but not, because I love hearing from those who have read it. I just feel like it should be farther along, I guess. And so I'm struggling. I'm like, why am I spinning my wheels and not getting traction? But it didn't stop me from writing and getting ready for the third book, so whatever. And I also have an author event Saturday, so I'm pretty excited about that because I don't do those very often. So I'm hoping that's successful, but we'll see.
And what is that?
It's just they call it like a pop-up shop, but it's for authors, and it's at our local Galleria Mall, and so we're just taking over a whole space at the Galleria. And
I got to do more of that. Like, there's a couple of local authors that I follow on Facebook, and I know them.
Yeah.
And they're constantly like, "Hey, I'm at this, and I'm over here," and it's just.
Yeah. I would love.
I'm not.
Where can you put your energy? That's the hardest part about those kind of events.
Yeah.
Like, you've got a day job that
right
wants to suck your entire existence away.
Yes, like I have no time. What is that?
What's that? Downtime? Nah.
Yeah, no, I work and sleep, but
yeah.
Oh well.
And I've done several events, and Hirum's done his conventions and stuff, and it's very exhilarating, but it's the follow-up that's so hard, because I have done follow-ups with people, putting them on my newsletter list, sending them a message, thanking them for, stopping by the table, and I'm just like, but it doesn't go anywhere. So I'm like, what am I doing wrong? I don't know.
That is interesting, because I did go to an author event here in New Orleans, and I met several authors there, and I exchanged information. I got their card, and I followed up with them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it was weird. Like, you would expect a little bit of, hey, I remember you, or something. But right. I mean, and here again, I understand everybody has issues or life,
life.
But yeah, I was just like, well, okay.
Yeah. I don't know. I did have a really fun weekend last weekend. One of my favorite readers, Kirsten, who kind of popped in our chat last week or whatever, met up with her and her husband on their way to the beach last weekend, and we had a good old time and did some picture taking and walked around a bookstore and sent my stalker and her stalker, our husbands, to a Dave and Buster's to hang out while we went to the bookstore. So that was kind of fun. Yeah, it was different. I loved it. I would do it again. So
that's great.
Yeah.
So, where's this Dave and Buster's?
It's like a giant adult arcade.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't think we have those in Utah.
Oh, you're missing out.
Yeah, I've always heard of them, but I've never been to one.
They're huge.
No, they have one in New Orleans. I just haven't gone. I don't know. So in my world, I am about to release my 5th book.
Woohoo!
And this is a new one for me. And here again, I talked a little bit about it last week, but this weekend I'm hoping to upload the files tonight. Justin says he loves me some Dave and Buster's. All right,
Nice.
I'll have to go there and try the food because I heard I don't know.
Wow, food too.
Yeah, no, it's a restaurant.
Yeah.
And an arcade.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
So this weekend I'm uploading my files for at least the ebook to get out because I'm still waiting for the book cover, the paperback version for it to be finalized. It's almost done. There's just a couple things, and I should be getting those this weekend too. But I want to get the book out before Halloween because it's a werewolf story.
Yeah.
What better time? So I'm gonna get that out this weekend. As far as my newsletter, it's pretty non-existent, which is something I got to get back on. However, I did create a lead magnet for this book that's coming out. So those of you that read the book and you want to, sign up for my newsletter, you will have a chance to read the tentative first chapter of the 2nd book that I'm working on. So,
nice.
Which could change dramatically. You might read this chapter, and then when the 2nd book comes out, you're like,
I don't even know what this is.
This is completely different.
This is the right book.
This is a sci-fi romance RPG.
See, I know nothing about your first book except something about Halloween.
So the premise is he's a NOPD. So the title is Lugeru NOPD detective, and he's a detective that's trying to protect the denizens of the world from so the shadow world, which is werewolves, vampires, everybody, they know of the light world or the normal world, but the normal world doesn't know anything about them, and so they're trying to maintain a balance because if the dark world or whatever became known, well, time and space would rip apart. I haven't really thought about it that far ahead, but anyway. So anyway, he's a werewolf detective. He works for NOPD, and he stumbles across a case. And anyway, so it's just it's really interesting. So I'm really excited about it.
Book 1, big things happen. So the only way to really ruin is book 2. He he becomes a pencil pusher, and he's just working.
He works for IRS.
He's transferred to the IRS.
Yeah.
That's his punishment for failing at something.
Maybe werewolf in the IRS. Who knows? Maybe that's where we put them.
That's why he's howling all the time.
Oh no! Nice.
No, it's horrible.
That was funny. No,
but yeah, things are moving along. Okay. So saying that I'm writing on the 2nd book, I do need to get back to writing on a writing schedule. As you guys know, I do work a lot of hours. So the current position I'm in takes a lot of time, where the position that I had previous to the one I have now, I had a lot of more free time, not a lot, but more than I do now. And so I was able to write 4 books because I could write 500 words a day, and it wasn't that much. It wasn't that taxing, but now it's really challenging to do that. So I really need to follow up on the author that we had on a couple weeks ago, where she said she touches it every day. It doesn't matter how much they write, and I got to get back to that. Whereas even if I write 10 words, it's 10 words, and progress is progress, because when you take a break and you come back to it, you're like, where was I?
Yeah.
And it takes time to get back into the mindset of what you're writing.
It absolutely does. Yeah.
So
Oof.
that's my world.
It's a good world though, because you know you have goals and you have things happening, so at least you're not just standing completely still. So there's
right,
that. Yeah,
right, and that's anytime there's movement forward, and that was another thing too. Like since I do have a lot going on, I want to focus on one thing at a time.
Yep.
And right now it's getting this book out.
Yep.
And once this book is out this weekend and next week, and then then I'll turn my attention and my full energies into the next book.
Nice.
And hopefully a newsletter.
No promises though.
Yeah, no promises.
So have you started thinking about what your gimmick would be in your newsletter? Because everyone just
me. That's
just a newsletter by itself.
Yeah,
I have no idea.
Yeah. Well, that's the hardest thing is like what do people want to hear? What do people want to read about? And you read these newsletter books like just be personable but I stay at home. I don't do anything. Like, I really don't go out. I really I just kind of hang out.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I try to stick to the things that you definitely want to know, things that you might like to know, and things I want you to know. Like I kind of break it down into those three things. And I think the last one I actually called it that, or the one before, I was like, these are the three things that you need to know, I want you to know, and you might want to know. And I'm like, it's easy enough. And it doesn't have to be super detailed. I mean, I just finished writing a book. Hooray for me. Moving on.
Yes. At my back.
Right. Like, you love me. That's why you're reading my newsletter.
Right. Yeah. Well, I've debated like making it basically like a serial, like where I just write even just a couple hundred words every. But it's sequential, that it builds, and so people are rewarded if they keep reading it each month, and then just have a little, just links in it. And I don't know.
The only problem I would see with that though is if they get, it's like picking up a series out of order.
Yeah.
And that is why this is all part of that whole the newsletter ninja book. But basically, when they join, they'll get an email that has like here's everything that you've missed on this story, and so they can catch up, and then they'll get the new ones as they come out.
That could work. It
debating.
Yeah, that's hard because I do recommend though subscribe to somebody else's newsletter, several other authors' newsletters, and read those and see, because that will help too.
My fundamental problem is I hate newsletters.
Right. Yeah. Right. Quit junking up on my email. No.
As he clicks send.
Yeah, as I say, please send me your email or your newsletter.
Subscribe.
But, I could see if you have your story already written and you have it planned out to however many you want your email stack, and then you could put that. So me thinking off the top of my head, you could put that on auto.
Yes.
Like, as soon as they sign up,
deliver.
They're gonna get those letters, and then every time you have something special, they get an extra email. Like, hey, this is coming out. Back to regular programming next.
Absolutely. And you can have multiple tracks on your newsletter. Like MailChimp has journeys that you can send people on, and if they click this thing, they go this way. If they click this thing, they go that way. And so
And please come back.
A lot to learn.
Don't leave me.
Don't take that journey.
Choose your own adventure.
I mean, one way or another, you're stuck in the main funnel, right? You are stuck in the actual, you're going to get my monthly newsletter, but if you go this way, you're also going to get, it's like bonus trips, side quests, if you will.
Side quests. Well, see, that'd be kind of, because with a newsletter, you can see who opens your
right.
Opens your email. And what you could do is like you could have a list of like these are the people that are top. They've accumulated all these points.
Ooh, you get a badge.
Thank you for being a supporter. Thank you for opening my emails.
That's right. You get a shout out next month's newsletter. Love it.
No,
people would love it. Some would.
Yeah, maybe it's just too much time.
Listen, it does take time. I was actually looking this morning going, ooh, I got a week before my next newsletter goes out. I need to work on that. Did I work on it? Not even once. Not once.
That happens. All right, we are coming up to 34 minutes. Do we have anything that we need to get out there?
No, but I would encourage if anybody is listening and they want us to talk about anything, leave it in the comments or send us an email, and we will consider very strongly talking about it, because we like talking
Take
about
it under
us, but
advisement.
that's about all we got.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Put it in the
John.
committee.
that's right. Put it to a
Our
vote.
our emails.
Oh, is it not on a banner anymore?
No, I don't see it.
We'll fix that.
It's weird.
It doesn't matter. So it's really easy. authorsdilemma@gmail.com. You can reach out to us if you have any critiques or questions or things you want to just talk about. We will try to accommodate. And but yeah, no, we were like, oh good lord,
Wow.
we really appreciate you being here with us.
I think I'm
At
the only
some point,
sober,
I'm gonna be here
sober
too.
one at this point.
Anyway, hey, we really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for, again, spending your time with us. And if you're listening to us in the future, go ahead and, if you're on a podcast platform, be sure to hit the subscribe button, like it, comment. We love you guys. Y'all have a great week. We'll see you next time. God bless.
Adios.